Howdy, I'm Mr. Paul from Paradise Ranch with your Tuesday talk straight from the horse's mouth. And today we're going to talk about the cost of owning a horse. This is the cost in Las Vegas. It might be different requirements for different climates and different areas. And in the future I'll do a video on the actual care of horses and go more into detail some of these things we're talking about. So now you're thinking about getting a horse, you're ready to get a horse, and you want to make sure that your horse is sound, so you want to do your pre-purchase exam. That's when you have the veterinarian come out and do a blood panel, look the horse over, have the horse move, make sure there's no stiffness or lameness, and have the farrier take a look at the horse's hooves and make sure nothing's going on there. Don't skip this step. If it's not in your budget to do this step, then you don't want to do. You may want to look at some alternatives for having a horse in your life. The pre-purchase exam is going to cost you about $600, so it is a little bit spendy. But when you're looking at how long a horse lives and how long you're going to have it, it's well worth doing this step. So you do your pre-purchase exam. Your horse is healthy. You're ready to get it home, and you need a place for it to stay. It needs a place to live. It can't live on your couch. So you're going to want a stable or a stall. If you don't have room on your property, you can board that horse. You're going to want to have a water trough or a self-waterer. Those things will cost you about $100. And then you're going to want shade and a place for the horse to get out of the rain. Even if the horse doesn't use it, legally you need one. And that's going to cost you anywhere between $2,000 to $10,000 just for the shade. And then the corrals, 12-foot minimum, 12-foot 4 panels, $200 a panel, and then you're going to have your gates cost you $400 to $600. So in total, just to get your horse set up and do your pre-purchase exam, you're looking anywhere between $2,500 to $10,000. And then if you decide you want to board your horse, let's say you don't have a room at your house, then that boarding can cost you $250 to $400 a month there. And then of course your horses are going to need to eat every day. They eat 1 to 2% of their body weight. 1,500-pound horse, that's going to equate to about 30 pounds a day, so that's a lot of feed. Horses will eat 11, 12, 100-pound bales a month. There's lots of different varieties of feed you can give your horse. Some horses are easy keepers and you can just do a alfalfa in the winter and an alfalfa mix in the summer and they're fine. But other horses, they need more nutrition and they need higher quality grasses like Timothy that may cost you some more money. So your hay is going to cost you anywhere between $15 to $25 a bale. And like I said, they're going to do 11 to 12 bales a month. So that's going to cost you some money. And then of course they're going to need their salt lick to help them stay hydrated in the summer, and that's salt lick's $10 for a 50-pound salt lick, and that might last you a couple of months depending on how long they use it. And then supplements. Horses with health issues, you did your pre-purchase exam and you may decide to still get your horse even if it has health issues. And take the extra care that it needs, and so it may need extra supplements. It may need things to take care of those health issues in addition to their normal daily diet. We had a horse that had a laminitis issue, and besides pain medication there wasn't any other treatment, so we did the supplement. The supplement was $100 for the bag and it lasted a couple of months and it worked really well, and the horse hasn't had a flare-up in years. So those supplements, they can be important, but they can also be costly. The other thing horses are going to need is care of their teeth and their hooves. Teeth and hooves, they grow throughout the horse's life, the whole time. They don't stop growing. So horses need their teeth looked at twice a year. The equine dentist comes out, or your farrier can do it. It costs you $100 to $200 a month, or $200 a visit. And then the farrier every 6 to 8 weeks comes out and does their feet. You can do just a regular trim where you just trim their feet. It's a barefoot trim. That can cost you $50 to $75 for a trim, or you can do full shoes all the way around, and that can cost you $100 to $150. So that's another expense every 6 to 8 weeks. And then finally, medical expenses. Medical expenses can cost you, I mean, just to have the vet come out, you know, you get out there to feed your horse one morning, and your horse is stiff or lame, or isn't eating, and you don't know why, you got to call the vet. Just to have the vet come out, it's going to be $87 to $100 just for the visit, and then any other procedures that they might need, or medications, that sort of thing, that's going to cost you extra. I know when we had our x-rays done for the laminitic horse, it was $600 just to have the 4 feet looked at through the x-ray. So your x-rays can cost you some money. And then you have your annual maintenance like vaccines. Vaccines can cost you $100 to $150 a year to have the vet come out and do that. And then of course training. Now you're going to want to ride your horse or that sort of thing, and depending on your level of expertise and experience with horses, you're going to need some training yourself. Maybe get back in the saddle again. So you're going to want to see a knowledgeable trainer and get your horse trained. And training costs $200 to $500 a month. And even though it's not a long-term, you know, expense, an expense that's going to happen through the whole time of owning the horse, it is still an expense that you're going to have when you first get your horse. And then, you know, obviously I think owning a horse worth all these costs, but I have people frequently tell me that they're ready to get a horse, and or they've got a friend with a horse that's going to give them a horse, and these sorts of things, and they don't understand all the costs associated with having this horse. So it's important to look at all these things before you decide to get that horse and end up with all these fees, and then figure out you got to rehome the horse. And to rehome the horse, you know, in the city, that's a difficult thing. There aren't a lot of horse properties out here. So an alternative might be the answer for your budget, leasing a horse or just taking lessons, and then you get around horses, you know, more frequently. You can always volunteer. Paradise Ranch, we take volunteers and get around horses and spend time with horses without all the costs that come with it. So one thing to remember when you decide you're going to buy a horse or get a horse is horses, they live a long time. They can live 30, 40 years. That's a long-term commitment. That's a long time to have a pet. At Paradise Ranch, we believe in keeping the horses and forever until they're at the end of their life. And really, if you're thinking about getting a horse, you should consider the same type of commitment for your horse. So there you go. That's the cost of owning a horse. I'm Mr. Paul for Paradise Ranch, and that's your Tuesday Talk.